So in this video, you're gonna learn what are the qualities of people who embark on the spiritual journey. Okay, but before I head into the topic, show reel. Pranam, Namaste, my name is Garret. Before I start the topic off, please make sure you guys remember to hit like, subscribe and comment your learnings in the comment section below. Okay, I'm dedicated to make 4 videos a week to spread more light and positivity out there to the world. Okay, so it's also nice to know where you guys are tuning from so we can connect within this space. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into the topic. So, what are the qualities of a person that embarks on a spiritual path? Okay, so I'll list all the qualities that the person that embarks on a spiritual journey might have. Okay, so then after that I'll highlight all of them all together, and the reason why I do that, there's a reason behind it. Okay, firstly, sincerity. Secondly, friendliness. Thirdly, cooperative or cooperation. Fourth, compassion. Fifth, love. And lastly is the lack of all of this. Okay, so all of these are the qualities of a spiritual person. Why do I say the lack of it is also part of the qualities of a spiritual person? Okay, so know this, that sincerity, most likely, most of the time, you don't hear people say that the rock is sincere. You don't say that the plant is sincere. You don't even hear people say animals are sincere. You only hear people say that human beings are sincere or not. Okay? Because when we describe a human being, right, sincerity itself is a value that is to be used on a person, on a level of consciousness for the spirit body. Okay? That's the reason why you don't hear it on animals or any non-living objects. Okay? Then, friendliness itself is also used to describe the spirit. Okay, because it's whether a person is friendly or not, you don't see that person is unfriendly. Even that if it's unfriendly, it's also used to describe consciousness of that person, the spirit of that person. You see, so it just shows that this is also a spirit body. Okay, a spirit body kind of traits. Okay, and it will only be used on human beings. Okay, friendliness. You don't hear people say that the animal is friendly. Okay, so the next thing is cooperative and cooperation. Okay, why is cooperative and cooperation another value? Okay, know this. Okay, everything in life, right, is all wanting to have some form of cooperation. So take for instance, if we say that the room is brightly lit. Okay, we say that the room is brightly lit, and what happens if we turn all the lights off? Then it becomes dark, right? So what is darkness essentially? Darkness is not, there's no light in the space, that's why it's called darkness. So it is basically the lack of value that I've mentioned of in part of the qualities of the person. Okay, so this thing seems a little bit complicated, and it requires you to listen it intensely and listen it on a keen level. Okay, and you must understand that cooperation itself is like people wants to be cooperative. The reason why people wants to be cooperative is because there's no cooperation to begin with. That's the reason why spiritual people are cooperative. Okay, because society itself is already not in cooperative mode. That's the reason why spiritual people wants cooperation to be brought in. Okay, so that's the reason why it's one of the values of a spiritual person. Okay, we don't say, take for instance, okay, one of these simple example that I can say, say for instance, disease. Okay, we don't often describe life as a form of disease. Okay, we often say that disease happens with the lack of health. So it goes back to cooperation and the lack of value and quality of that person. Okay, so say for instance it is the lack of health that gives diseases. So that's how we usually understand what disease is made up of. Okay, it's the lack of the positive. Therefore, the lack of positive is also due to the non-existence of cooperation. Okay, so simple things like disturbance. Okay, disturbance is basically the lack of equality in existence. Okay, and darkness is simply the lack of light. Okay, it's not an entity or a quality, but just the non-existence of light that makes the place dark. Okay, so it's a little bit dark, a little bit deep, so please listen carefully. So cooperation again is the consciousness willing to flow in the other direction. Okay, it is embedded in our consciousness, just like the child. Okay, so take for instance, if you are getting a child that is stressed. Okay, so if a child is stressed, so no matter what you want to do to that child, the mother tries to feed that child, the child just refuses to be fed. Okay, because that spirit of the child is already stressed. Okay, or if you're trying to get the child to go to sleep, even though it's tired, right, but it's stressed, but it just won't go to sleep. Okay, I know that because I just became a parent, so I understand how it feels. Okay, so the whole level of understanding this cooperation, okay, is the level of understanding for the consciousness that's willing to flow in another direction. Okay, so if the same consciousness is stress, then the same level of consciousness, right, once it is stressed up, right, they would love cooperation. Okay, so for instance, if the mother feels stressed because the son is the young child, right, is stressed, then the mom would appreciate so much of the child to be cooperative. So same thing in life. So there can't be more negative than more positive. It has to be a form of balance. Okay, it's because the child is misbehaving or the child is feeling stressed, right, that's causing the mom to be stressed. So when the mom is becoming stressed, it's also because due to the lack of some form of cooperation from the child. You see how all this thing is trying to tie up together. Okay, just like a loop. Okay, so I've mentioned, if the child does not want to be fed, or is throwing tantrums, or is stressed, okay, it doesn't even want to go to sleep, it is already deprived of level of cooperation. Okay, level of cooperation from what? And you may be thinking, so whatever that has caused that child to go into stress mode has caused that child to throw tantrums. Okay, so similarly, with this understanding with what I've mentioned so far, right, is happening on the larger scale, and this larger scale is happening out there in the world. Okay, and what does it mean by that? So take for instance, you turn on the news. I don't really watch any more news anymore, but each time I chance by a certain news articles or on Facebook or some of my social media, right, you will start to notice that there's a lot of people protesting over certain things, and especially one of the biggest protests in Hong Kong. Take for instance, they protest over PRC. Okay, trying to go back into mainland China, all this kind of stuff. Okay, it becomes violent, right? People in the protest become violent. Even take for instance the latest incident in Sydney. Okay, people are protesting wearing masks for a certain time, became violent. Okay, because of the COVID pandemic. So you see, on the larger scale, right, most people are actually engaged in violent activity. But this actually is deep down, right, if you go and understand the whole root of this problem, right, these people who are acting violent and participating in this violence, right, actually just wants peace. Okay, the whole heart of the issue, right, is that they aspire to have peace, love, and happiness. Therefore, they act in doubt, causing them to go into protest, causing them to be in a certain form of violence. And they think that violence is the way out for them to gain peace, love, and happiness, which is actually quite a very, very negative way of thinking. Okay, so listen, how is all this tying up to, and why is spirituality helping these people to gain sincerity, friendliness, cooperative, compassion, love, and understanding the lack of it would cause? Okay, why would spirituality actually help you to understand all this? Notice, spirituality is actually not a loud noise. Okay, it is a whisper. Okay, so in order for you to listen to this whisper, right, you need to be really, really quiet. Okay, once you quiet down, then you'll be able to listen to this whisper. Okay, it's not a loud noise, huh? And take for instance, treasure is a winner. Treasure is a whisper, sorry. And love is also a whisper. Knowledge is also a whisper. Okay, those who are very keen are able to catch it. Okay, and only when they are keen and they quiet down, that's when they can hear all these whispers. Okay, so basically, in short, everything in life is all about balance. Okay, and when you are always constantly out there in pursuit of just the materials without the understanding of spirituality, right, then you will not be able to witness the full spectrum of life. You might just think that life is an entity, it's just a form of quality of life, or it's just an entity of life. That's why people always say, oh, it's quality of life, quality of life. Know this. Take for instance, sickness in life. Sickness, most people say, I'm sick because of some flu. No, you're sick not because of the flu. Do you know that your body is made out of diseases? But whether or not that person gets sick is selective. It's due to the lack of proper health management. That's why the person and the disease starts to activate and the system falls ill. Okay, so know this, spirituality is basically just helping you to understand the whole big theory, the whole umbrella of life, so that you will manage your life so much better. Okay, so with that, I hope you learned something from this video, and it's a short one, but it turned out to be quite long. Okay, so I hope you learned something from this video. If you do, please make sure you comment your learnings in the comment section below. Okay, with that, I end off this video. Pranam, namaste.